thank you for taking the time to listen to this talk. And my name is David, and the title of this talk is How I Lost 20 Pounds. And normally I like to speak without using notes. I like to just have a single, very key idea that I like to express, and I like to just go with that one idea. But I find that I tend to ramble on a bit, and so the first thing I did is you might hear an alarm go off in like 9 minutes, because this is probably going to be a 2 or 3 part video, each one 10 minutes long. And so I got a lot to learn about, how to speak clearly, and how to, get key points across in a very clear manner. So please disregard any of my inability or untrained skills as a speaker, and go for the content. Go for the basic message that I have here. And please disregard everything else. Go for the content, including any distractions that I portray because I'm using notes and not looking into the camera. Well, the title of this talk is How I Lost 20 Pounds. I've had a lot of benefits in life from losing this weight, and I knew that it was something that I wanted to do. And by the way, behind me is the love of my life, my grand piano. I have that sitting behind me because it relaxes me. And also I'm kind of sitting close to it. If this chair were to fall over and I might hit the piano, it might be a prophecy that many of my relatives have suggested to me at one time. They said, well, David, if ever you're out of a job, you can always fall back on your music. So maybe I can just send them this video if I were to fall back, because I would be falling back on my music. Well, when you listen to the message I have here on weight loss, on how I lost the 20 pounds, I invite you to listen from the perspective of how you might be of service to other people. In other words, pick up any ideas that you might be able to pass on to others, because as you serve others in any benefit that they can have in life, like losing weight or having a healthy weight or just being healthy, then you're going to have more insights on how you yourself can also enjoy good benefits of good health and of healthy weight. I think one of the fascinating studies that I've ever studied, we might call it the science of personal achievement, but it's how we get from the thought, the initial thought or desire or idea. How do we get from the idea to the physical thing? The desire to do something to actually doing it or getting the tangible result. And I find there are many strategies that can help us do this, but I always find it a helpful study because every time you learn a new strategy, it may be applicable to other goals as well. And so the strategies that you pick up on how to lose weight could be useful in other areas of life. So take notes on your own progress toward your weight loss goal and see if those strategies that you've come across might be useful in your other goals too. Well, the scale today said 153. I started out at 175 about 3 or 4 months ago, and part of my goal to lose weight was helped by I once heard a talk by Jack Canfield. And one of my favorite books that he has is called The 25 Success Principles, or The Success Principles. But anyway, in this talk, he gives some help on how to focus on a goal, or how to identify a chief goal or things that you want. And it's merely to ask yourself in a repetitive way, what do I really, really want? So I did a modification of this question, and probably for the past, year, every day I start my day with a walk around the block holding an old-fashioned handheld tape recorder, and I'm asking myself, David, what would you like to experience right this second? That's my particular question that I like. What would you like to experience right this second? Well, all kinds of things come up, but over a period of days, they're very, very consistent. One of them for the past year has been that I wanted to have a thin abdomen, a thin midsection, and a more well-built upper body, and that I wanted to get to 155 pounds. And at the time I weighed 175. So having this, being very, very clear on this thing that I wanted to do has been a help to me. The other interesting principle I've used in this weight loss comes from Steve Covey's book, The 7 Habits of Successful People, particularly the habit of first things first. In other words, the first thing I do in the day is read over, for example, read over my list of healthy foods. I do that first so I don't get caught up in other things and get distracted and then end up eating foods that are high in calories or something like this. So this is another book that has been very helpful to me. So you see, whatever goal we're trying to achieve, whatever area of life we're attempting to be competent in, there is a science of success, underlying success principles. And when we understand what these are, it can help our achievement in this area, like in weight loss. So one of the first things I did was I did a Google search on low-calorie foods, because I decided to pick a very fundamental rule or principle about weight loss, which is calories. In other words, if you can burn off more calories than you're taking in, you're going to lose weight. If you're going to take in more calories than you're burning off, you're going to gain weight. No matter what the diet is called. Diets have all fancy names, all fancy people supporting them, all fancy things you eat or don't eat. But the bottom line in the law of physics that's been here even before mankind was on this planet has been, it's the basic laws of physics, of chemistry, basic laws of this universe, the laws of energy, and that has to do with calories. So I decided, I wouldn't think of any fancy name for a diet. I'm going to do my whole weight loss based primarily on calories. I'm just going to find a way to take in less than I burn off, and I'm not going to worry about anything else. First thing I did was I got a list of low-calorie and high-energy foods, and I read this list every single day, 100 times. And then when I go to the grocery store, I'd walk into their produce section and I'd identify what these things are. So I got more and more acclimated, more and more used to what they are. I also put these similar lists on my refrigerator and pictures of these foods on my refrigerator, so that every time I go there, I'm reminded of it. And every time I'm at the store to buy groceries, I'm also reminded that those are the kind of foods to get. And pretty soon the refrigerator became full of those kinds of foods. So these little pictures on a refrigerator can really help us out. Well, I sometimes talk about, how much time do I have? Oh my goodness, I'm running out of time for part one of this video, but the key point of part one is that there are success principles that underlie any goal you're working on. So although there are specific things you do for weight loss, if you read some books or study principles about success in life in general, it is going to help your weight loss goal. And then the other key principle of part one of this video is lists of foods that are going to help you do it, and reviewing these lists often. For me, it was low-calorie, high-energy foods. Well, this completes part one of this tape. Thank you very much for listening, and part two comes up very soon. Thank you.